Hello everyone, and you're very, very welcome back to the Justice for Aaron Brady campaign. Now, we have been relatively inactive probably this last 3 or 4 weeks. We had obviously Aaron's appeal was turned down. The 48 appeal points were overruled by the Irish judicial system. So no real surprise there. And we have covered that to some degree. And it's something we've been working on the background over this last couple of weeks. And then we had the fiasco that was the attempt or tendency to pervert the course of justice, in which again Aaron was found guilty, and indeed as was Dean Byrne. And with this tendency to pervert the course of justice, we've said it all along, there was no victims. There was no actual crime, and the cost and the time to the Irish taxpayer was phenomenal for something of a shitstorm to be created for the Irish media. And yes, the Irish media jumped on that bandwagon immediately. Now, there's been a lot of column inches and articles written about the tendency to pervert the course of justice. But obviously, none of these journalists have watched the dozens and scores of videos in relation to particular individuals who told a tissue of lies and give false statements to protect their own skins. These people give statements against Aaron. We've highlighted it, catalogued it, published it on numerous occasions, and yet these people can't seem to pick up on it. So what we are going to do is we're going to have a look at just one programme. I think it was a 7 or 8 minute slot on PrimeTime, Miriam O'Callaghan and the inimitable Barry Cummins, who we've called out on numerous occasions and requested that he come and discuss the information he peddled in the PrimeTime programme immediately after Aaron's conviction. We've created a number of videos to contradict everything this clown, as he represents himself as a mainstream criminal journalist. We've called him out on numerous points, numerous bits of information he put forward in the PrimeTime programme back in 2020. And we've yet to hear from any of these journalists. So we're going to take, I think, about 5 minutes of this clip, maybe less, and just a couple of points from it, highlight what they're trying to do here, and of course, show the glaring omissions from the truth that has led to the framing of our son, Aaron. So let's have a listen to Cummins and Miriam here at the start of this segment.
Well, this week, the Special Criminal Court sentenced Aaron Brady for his attempt to pervert the course of justice in his own trial for capital murder. Brady is serving a life sentence with a minimum term of 40 years for shooting dead Detective Garda Adrian Donoghue in 2013. Well, here to talk through what we can now say about Brady's various crimes is our security correspondent, Barry Cummins. Barry, bring us up to date on what's been happening.
Miriam, from the comfort of a single occupancy cell number 20 at D Wing in Mountjoy Jail in 2020, Aaron Brady used a smuggled mobile phone to attempt to pervert the course of justice. The Central Criminal Court had directed that Brady be given a laptop in prison to view witness statements and videos of interviews while on trial for capital murder. What no one knew was that he would source a mobile phone in jail and send a video of one witness interview which would cross the Atlantic and be disseminated within the Irish American community in New York.
This is the introduction to this segment in the PrimeTime programme. Miriam tells here that obviously Aaron was sentenced for attempting, and Cummins says this as well, for attempting, he says, to pervert the course of justice. Miriam said very clearly that Aaron Brady was sentenced to 40 years for shooting dead Detective Garda Adrian Donoghue. Now, we're going to mention this a couple of times over the course of this video, and it will become very prevalent over the next few weeks. Miriam O'Callaghan, Barry Cummins, and everyone in RTE is fully aware of these images, which we handed out to all the journalists to all the journalists, and it's something we have spoken about on numerous occasions from the very, very beginning of Aaron's campaign. So, Paul Reynolds admitted in a newspaper article or an online article that he said Aaron Brady's father, Tony Brady, was handing out leaflets. So Paul Reynolds actually got 2 of these. Every journalist in the courtroom got one of these, as Reynolds called them, leaflets. And these leaflets contain a picture of the man who shot and murdered Adrian Donoghue, the second of his, that Adrian Donoghue lost his life. And it hasn't been mentioned thus far, but we'll follow that line over the coming weeks, and that will become clearer to everyone. But the journalists have had their opportunity to investigate what was given in the photograph, and if there was any issues, you can be sure if the Bradys or anyone under the direction of the Bradys caused any alterations to the facts on that photograph, everyone would know about it. So the silence again is absolutely deafening. So that's just a brief introduction there. Barry Cummins mentions about the video being disseminated, particularly in New York, and he mentions that it's about one of the witnesses. I suppose, yeah, we'll just have a look at this witness. This was about Ronan Flynn. Now, Aaron did admit to recording the clips on the video. So he was looking at his laptop, he seen the clips, he recorded them, and he sent them to 2 people. We have always said, and the man who is in the clips, Ronan Flynn, which we have shown you on numerous occasions, he too is of the opinion that on Garda Síochána, particularly a member who was in Castleblaney Garda station, I think at the time, released the video onto the mainstream platforms, to the social media platforms, because Ronan Flynn had come forward and told us, as he has done on numerous occasions, that he was put under severe pressure, told he would never see his son, his daughter and partner again if he didn't tell lies against Aaron Brady. Now, we've highlighted this. It's in a number of videos. The links will be below this video, and you can go and source them. We've covered this on numerous occasions. But in regards to intimidation of witnesses, what I'd like to do now is just play you a very quick video of a member of Garda Síochána intimidating and assaulting Ronan Flynn on the streets of New York barely 18 months ago. So is this the actions of a member of Garda Síochána who is working closely with a witness who came forward in a capital murder trial? So let's have a quick look at Garda, I think he's 526, interacting with Ronan on the streets in New York.
What are you guys talking about?
What
are you guys talking about? Why are you guys following me? Why are you guys following me?
Good looking fella, Ronan.
Okay. The cops want to follow me in New York. The cops want to follow me in New York. Okay. Hold on. The cops want to follow me in New York.
You want a pint?
The cops want to follow me in New York.
I'll buy you a drink.
The cops want to follow me in New York. Okay.
I'll buy you a drink.
You guys want to follow me in New York? I'm over here. It's a different country. You know that, right?
So there we have it, folks. That is a member of Garda Síochána. A number of members of Garda Síochána. There's a band Gardaí there also who slapped the phone out of Ronan's hand. We have a small clip of that also. But obviously Ronan has sent us this video, and I'm just going to put up, there you go. This is the text messages. There we go. These people should be fired. That's him. Get him fired. This is none of his business. And his girl provoking a witness. I met guards in Mean Fiddler and they acted like kids, standing on my shoes. When I told them my name, they wanted inside. I do, so I told them to suck my... and they left. They said they'd beat me up. Tell the media the Garda are trying to start a fight with me. Call me when you wake up. I'm not mad that you took my name through shit. So this is the messages that came along with the video. So this, to all intents and purposes, proves exactly what we have said from the very beginning. It's not the Bradys or Aaron who has intimidated anyone. The people who are intimidated are those who give false statements. And this young man was put in a very serious predicament that he was going to be sent home to Ireland to face very, very serious assault charges. We know, and you'll see in the videos below, an extradition warrant for this young man, Ronan, was made disappear. There was very serious charges, a very serious assault. A man was in hospital for 2 weeks with very serious facial injuries after an altercation with Ronan and some members of his family. So the accusations that the Bradys are in some way intimidating this man because of the release of the video, as Cummins very cleverly puts it, disseminated in New York. It was disseminated all over the world. That evening that video was released, I got text messages and phone calls from America, from Australia, from England, from all over Ireland. And we didn't know where the video or how it got released. And I will say once again, and this must be understood very clearly, the release of that video onto the social media platforms was totally and completely detrimental to Aaron's defence, because Ronan had spoken to Aaron's legal team and explained how he was put under so much pressure to tell those lies. So that's Barry Cummins, RTE, Miriam O'Callaghan are all fully aware of the information we've put forward. Ronan's text messages, his emails, my voice recordings with him. I've recorded numerous phone calls with him. And we understand the pressure that lad was put under to tell these lies. And we'll mention this again. It wasn't because of the dissemination of the video that Ronan didn't come to give evidence as a witness. Because, let's face it, if he came forward, he was going to have to go public anyway. So that argument in itself holds no water and is totally and completely ridiculous. Ronan, as he said in this, one of the text messages there, so I told him to go and suck my... There you have it. That's what Ronan told Garda Síochána. Nothing got to do with Aaron Brady. Nothing got to do with the Bradys. So now we're going to continue with the primetime programme. And this is where, again, Barry takes a nice little sinister touch on his campaign against Aaron. And he shows Aaron wrecking the cars in Dundalk. What it's got to do with the murder of Detective Guard Adrian Donoghue, I don't know. It's absolutely nothing got to do with it. And again, Cummins, Miriam O'Callaghan and RTE, you're showing total and complete disrespect for the memory of a member of Garda Síochána who lost his life by putting up salacious clickbait footage here. That's absolutely nothing in the world got to do with the way this man lost his life. So let's have a look at Mr. Cummins once again.
Let's go back for a minute to consider who Aaron Brady is. He's been in custody ever since this moment in May 2017, early in the morning in Woodlawn in the Bronx, arrested by US police on immigration offences. Brady was later deported to Ireland and sentenced to 1 year in jail for a car rampage in Dundalk back in 2011. And this footage is over a year before Brady murdered Garda Adrian Donoghue. Here, Brady is driving a stolen car fitted with false plates, but he's not keeping a low profile. He cuts up a taxi and then drives into him. Here he reverses up the street into another taxi and gestures out the window. Gardaí are now in pursuit, but Brady does not stop, instead putting his stolen vehicle up on two wheels on top of another vehicle before driving off. So Aaron Brady was known as a volatile person from then. 9 years later, he was on trial for capital murder.
So that has been and always was very difficult for us to watch. It's absolutely fucking terrible what Aaron was doing. And of course, he went to court, he pleaded guilty. And it was actually during those visits to court because the court settings overran into the period after Detective Guard Adrian Donoghue was brutally murdered. And obviously there was serious tensions, and there was underhand comments and words said in the court by members of An Garda Síochána to Aaron. But that's neither here nor there. It happened, and that was that. And the mainstream media coverage and the press and the pressure of all that was happening at that time is the reason why Aaron left Ireland in May 2013. We've never made any excuses for his behaviour that night. Absolutely and totally abhorrent. It was a horrible time for us, even with the ongoing court cases at that time. And we were there with Aaron through all those court cases. It's something he shouldn't have done. Most certainly should not have done. But what has that got to do with the murder of Detective Guard Adrian Donoghue? Absolutely nothing. Absolutely and totally nothing. It's clickbait, salacious journalism that is pathetic at best. And once again, decent journalism would not bring the memory of Adrian Donoghue down to this level. This clickbait, tabloid journalism. And this is our, this is RTE, this is our national broadcaster. And the facts and the details that's been omitted, and the facts and the details of the actual intimidation case that have been omitted, is absolutely horrendous, and it is shocking. Very, very worrying. So why that had to be put up, I don't know. As I say, it was always sickening for us to watch, and it's no apologies in any way, shape or form for Aaron for doing what he done in Dundalk that night. But what it's got to do with Adrian Donoghue, we just can't see. Only to create this picture of Aaron Brady. So we're going to move on now, and this is where this gets a little bit more serious, and Cummins and O'Callaghan here set it up nicely to try and suggest that what happened with Ronan's tapes, which we have shown definitely had the dissemination of them on social media had nothing to do with Aaron Brady. And the reason for that we've said, because Ronan already spoken to solicitors. So let's have a listen to Barry Cummins here spouting this narrative and rhetoric that is absolutely and totally disgusting.
Barry, that was during the pandemic, and I think that was the only murder trial, the only case of its kind that went on during the pandemic. It
was, Miriam. It was a strange time at the criminal courts of justice, with mask wearing and the jury in this case even social distancing from each other. And it was also strange because, unbeknownst to the jury, the trial was being attacked by nefarious forces. The case against Brady involved lots of circumstantial evidence and also alleged confessions made in New York. And while the jury did hear from two such confession witnesses, the jury never knew there had been other witnesses that never gave evidence after that video recorded from within Mountjoy Jail was disseminated. Here's how PrimeTime reported on that issue just after the verdict, which found Aaron Brady guilty of capital murder. The jury didn't know there were other witnesses due to testify about confessions Aaron Brady had made in America. One witness was ruled inadmissible, another went missing, and two others then refused to cooperate. A video of one of these being interviewed by Gardaí was circulated on social media on both sides of the Atlantic during the trial.
So this assertion by Barry Cummins here is absolutely and total pack of lies. It is a sack of shit. Nobody, absolutely nobody, refused to give evidence because that video was released on social media. Now, obviously, the video was released on social media and Ronan had no other contact. I have him recorded on numerous occasions and text messages from Ronan saying the video had nothing got to do with him not giving evidence. He had told the Garda, as I said before, that is what he told them. So let's have a look at some of the other players in this catastrophic framing of her son Aaron. So we'll just have a quick look first at this man here. This is Daniel Cahill, who did give evidence. This is a man who attacked people with machetes on Garda Síochána and knew about it. This is a man who had direct links to Dean Evans, a man who shot and murdered Peter Butterley in a car park in Meath here in Ireland, and had direct links to the Continuity IRA, 32 County Sovereignty Committee, some of them outfits, and dealing drugs in Dublin. The Gardaí knew this man here, Daniel Cahill, was stabbed 7 or 8 times before he left Dublin because of his nefarious acts and selling product from different gangs. He got him into trouble and he wasn't able to come back to Ireland. He was caught with drugs, with marijuana and steroids in his apartment the morning he was arrested, or the call to his apartment. For whatever reason, a whole lot of NYPD, drugs unit, immigration removal officers, Homeland Security and Irish members of Garda Síochána just turned up on this fucker's door. This is a man who proclaims that paedophilia and selling children is a good idea. And we've put this video up before with him, with his friends and the tin hat, and their idea of making money is to sell children. You can sell coke and marijuana or weed and the money's gone. You sell the child, you still have the child, you can sell it again. Now that's the depth of people we're dealing with. We're after looking at Barry Cummins showing Aaron racking cars in Dundalk 12 or 18 months prior to the murder and robbery at Lordship Credit Union. And here we have this man involved in all sorts of criminality, terrorism and paedophilia, claiming paedophilia is a good, profitable game. And not a word from our mainstream media. Not a word. So he did come forward, and then we look at the people who did. So Cummins says the jury never knew there were other witnesses who never gave evidence after the video recorded in Mountjoy was disseminated all over the world. Right, so let's have a look at these people. I'm going to bring up 2 pictures here now. There we go. This is Christopher Morton and Anthony Maguire. 2 confounded liars, probably Morton more so than Maguire. These, would you believe, are 2 first cousins. And both of them give statements against Aaron and Morton. He was ruled inadmissible because of the absolutely fucking disgusting behaviour of detectives Ogle and Mary in an identification process, where they just showed a picture of Aaron on an A4 sheet of paper. Absolutely disgusting. The other man, Maguire, gave a statement against Aaron and then sent a letter to the Irish authorities, and in particular to Mark Phillips, Detective Mark Phillips, telling them he didn't want anything more to do with the case, that he was put under severe duress to make a statement. Now that was a letter sent via his lawyer, Maguire's lawyer in New York. So that's the reason why Maguire didn't give evidence. Now let's have another look at Mr. Maguire. Mr. Maguire had an outstanding extradition warrant. And I'm just going to open it up here so I can read it. So this happened in 2014. Maguire was caught with possession of Class A drug intent to supply, possession of Class B drug, controlled drug, Class A controlled drug, possession of ammunition in suspicious circumstances, cannabis to the value of 320, and 30 grams worth, £30,000 worth of cocaine. And there was an extradition warrant for Maguire. So this in 2014. Maguire left the country, abandoned his partner and his children, and went to America. But it even gets more sinister, because Maguire then appeared back in Ireland here in January last year. County Down man extradited from US appears in court. And here we go. The court he pleaded guilty to a lot of these, that's possession of Class A drug. Class A drug pleaded guilty. Class A drug with intent to supply, pleaded guilty. Now, he pleaded guilty. Now, the court haven't taken into account the defendant's early plea of guilt. This is nearly 9 years after the event, and he's pleading guilty, and the judicial system is happy that this is an early plea of guilt when he absconded. So he was sentenced to 6 months or 18 months for all these. He pleaded guilty to all these here. Now, there's an interesting one here. I hope I have it for you. Do I have it? Bum, bum, bum. The ammunition one. Yeah. Possession of ammunition in suspicious circumstances. Article 64, the Firearms, Northern Ireland Order 2004. Not guilty, and that was left in the books. So this is very simple. If he had to plead guilty, and he was caught with ammunition, he was caught with the gun and cartridges, he couldn't get back into America. So this all happened in January 2023, and lo and behold, by July 2023, this man is back in New York. Can anyone explain this? Now, this was fully known by, we've shown on numerous occasions that Senior Investigating Officer Mark Phillips had dealt with the PSNI and spoken to them about Maguire's involvement with the cannabis, with the cocaine, the ammunition, and £30,000 worth of cash. I think I might have left that out initially. So Maguire was caught with all this, and these two men here were fully aware that they were dealing with a fucking drug dealer. A man who was dealing drugs in his own community, got up, left his partner and left his kids just to protect himself. And these men pertain that this man is a safe witness, and it had nothing whatsoever to do, Barry Cummins and Miriam O'Callaghan, RTE PrimeTime. Absolutely nothing got to do with the video of Ronan Flynn being interviewed. And this goes to the very highest level in Dundalk Garda Station. This is Inspector Beggy here, and he met with the PSNI to establish what they were going to do in relation to Anthony Maguire. They advised us that they have a direction to prosecute 4 drug offences, fireworks and possession of firearms, which we have seen was dropped. PSNI indicated that they were putting in an extradition request at this stage to the USA. They have said that his address in the US became known to them in January 2019. See, this is very serious, because Beggy would have been fully aware. Mark Phillips and Jim McGovern, 2 detectives, interviewed Maguire in 2017 and 2018. And we have to believe that the PSNI didn't know his address until January 2019. So either the PSNI and Martin Beggy, detective here, is telling lies, or Garda Station in Dundalk was withholding vital information from the PSNI in relation to a drug dealer who they wanted to use as a layer as a witness in a capital murder case here in Ireland. Anthony Maguire be in custody. When asked what impact that would have on our case, I pointed out that it was an independent matter, and should Anthony Maguire be in custody in the USA or Northern Ireland, there is ways we can deal with that, i.e. video link or section of the Justice Miscellaneous Provision Act 2008, and we will address the issue if and when it arises. I asked to be kept abreast about the situation and agreed to meet at the end of June 2019 to review the position. It was made clear that we did not want to seek or interfere with their process, but to be aware of issues that may require our attention in order to have a witness in a position to give evidence. So Martin Beggy is trying to tell us here that there was no interference. Now, we have spoken briefly at the beginning of this video about an extradition warrant from the Republic of Ireland for Ronan Flynn that was made disappear. And lo and behold, this is an extradition warrant that the PSNI were going to activate in 2019, and nothing happened until the end of 2022 into 2023. Just enough time and a buffer zone to allow Aaron Brady's case to be dealt with in court. So that is the sort of corruption and collusion we are dealing with. Anthony Maguire is no more a suitable witness than any other criminal and illegal immigrant in New York. So he went there illegally, he stayed illegally, he was involved in serious drug dealing here in Ireland, and he was allowed back into New York. Has anyone ever heard anything like it in their lives? Finally, we look at this liar and scumbag here, whom we believe initiated his first cousin Maguire to tell lies against Aaron, and obviously worked with Daniel Cahill in order to try and secure $50,000 or $100,000 reward and green cards. So Morton informed HSI that Maguire had information. So we know that for a fact. That is documented by Detective Phillips. So this man here, Morton, handed up his cousin Maguire as an informant. Morton had told Mary earlier. Mary was fully aware that Morton was recruiting people to tell lies. Maguire gave a statement to Phillips and McGovern in December 2017. So you can see quite clearly that in November and December 2017, McGovern, Phillips, Mary were fully aware of Maguire, would have been fully aware of his legal status and his drug dealing problem here in Ireland. And yet, Inspector Martin Beggy, Dundalk, wants us to believe that the PSNI didn't know anything about it until 2019. So the guards obviously didn't tell them they were using this drug dealer as a false witness against our son. It's there in black and white, and we've highlighted this to all the journalists. So that's just a very brief look at those people who didn't give evidence. And any suggestion from you, Cummins, you are a liar. And the reason you're a liar is not misinformation or that you don't know the facts. RTE are fully aware of all the facts in relation to Cahill, Maguire, Morton. More than aware. And indeed, Ronan Flynn. All criminals, all criminal records, all brushes with the law. Some of them involved in drug dealing gangs, terrorists, and attacking people with machetes. And you want us to believe you sit there and pontificate on PrimeTime with Miriam and tell blatant lies to the Irish public to create a false narrative against our son Aaron. Now, all these people allegedly said in some strange way, shape or form that Aaron Brady said, yeah, I shot the guard, yeah, I shot the cop. Once again, we refer back to the information you now have, the photograph you now have. So if any of the information on this is correct, which it is 100% correct, the information on the leaflet, as Reynolds called it, would render these alleged outbreaks by Aaron Brady to be total lies. Because Aaron Brady physically cannot be the man who shot and murdered Detective Garda Adrian Donoghue. It is as simple as that. I could go on for hours about these people and their backstories and how they should have been extradited and how they were coerced into making false statements. But as I say, there's a number of video links below this video that will lead you to all that relevant information. So please have a look. If there's anything that's incorrect or wrong, throw it out there and we will definitely address it. And if you see anything that's wrong in our videos, over 500 videos now, RTE, News Talk, Reynolds, Ali Bracken, all the top journalists are fully aware of it. Cahill's lover by Schiller, fully aware of all the details. And yet they refuse to have a proper conversation with the Justice for Aaron Brady campaign. And we'll say once again, showing no respect for the man who lost his life at Lordship Credit Union in January 2013. So I'm not sure what the next bit is of prime time coming up. So you're a liar, Barry Cummins. Any issues with that, contact the Justice for Aaron Brady campaign. If RTE has any issue with us saying that they are propagating lies on their station to the Irish public, please contact the Justice for Aaron Brady campaign. I'm sure you have ample access to legal representation. Just let us know if you have any problem with what we're saying. These are liars. It's disgusting what you are peddling. So let's have a look at the next bit of the primetime programme, Miriam and Barry.
And it's what Mr. Justice Michael White said was the most outrageous contempt of court he'd ever come across.
It was, Miriam. We couldn't report back then that Aaron Brady himself was suspected of being the source of the video. He's now admitted it was him. While he never shows his face during his recording of the video in prison, you do hear Brady's voice at one stage. When the witness says Brady is someone who acts first and thinks later, Brady says two words, effing pig's head. Perhaps Aaron Brady was always going to be caught. Things being smuggled into prison, that's nothing new. Former Garda Inspector Tony Gallagher policed out of Mountjoy Garda Station for 20 years and has seen many ways that attempts are made.
Sending contraband in over the prison walls by various means, by very innovative means, slingshots with eggs, with churned out oranges, tennis balls. So they tried to combat that then by putting up these nets, and they had to become more sophisticated with their netting each time, because the contraband would find its way down through the nets and into the exercise yard where there was a scrum to get the contraband. If you are a visitor to Mountjoy prison and you go through the visitor area, it's like airport security. It's very difficult to get contraband in that way, and you will be detected, so there will be a sanction.
In the year that Aaron Brady used a mobile phone inside his cell, 212 phones were seized at Mountjoy. Wheatfield had the most phones seized that year at 568. Over 1,100 phones seized in Irish prisons in 2020. And consider that was the year that COVID hit and prison...
So in that part of the clip, Miriam tells us that Judge Michael White said this was the most outrageous contempt of court that he had ever come across. This is the same Michael White who sat and watched, witnessed and heard Molly Staunton, a witness in Aaron's trial, be physically attacked and verbally abused while giving her testimony to the court in a capital murder trial. Tell them what you're fucking supposed to tell them. As her laptop was slammed shut, and we could still hear a violent interaction between Molly Staunton and her attacker. An attack that was never investigated. It appears not even an email was sent from the DPP in Dublin to find out who this man was. Molly Staunton gives some story that it was a male friend. So this thing, that the most outrageous contempt of court is the dissemination of a video of a man giving a statement. A witness being physically attacked. And yet Judge Michael White seen fit to allow that. And unfortunately and sadly, we have to say that the appeal court felt the same way. And they said there was nothing Michael White could do about the attack on Molly Staunton, or there was nothing more the judge could do. Fucking lies. Molly Staunton purged herself when she said she was on her own. It was part of the regulations, on her own, could not be disturbed, and she was in an area where no one could interfere with her testimony. She gave that assurances and she told lies. There was a man in the room telling her, tell them what you're fucking supposed to tell them. And then the little bit about Aaron did admit that he made the recording. That's never been an issue. From day one in the court, Aaron admitted recording the video. He did not disseminate it in any attempt to intimidate Ronan, because that is the last thing that Aaron Brady would have wanted to happen. Because Ronan had already contacted the solicitors to say how he was attacked and put under pressure by An Garda Síochána. The reference to the effing pig's head, I do believe Aaron has said it wasn't aimed at Ronan. If you look at the video clips, Mark Phillips is sitting opposite Ronan. And the remark effing pig's head may very well and is being pointed towards Detective Mark Phillips as he changes Ronan's statement mid-flow about whether Ronan knew about where the car or what car was burned out after the Northern robbery. So that's just a little bit longer than I anticipated with that video. I just wanted to go through it quickly. But there's so much evidence and so much fact that the guards, in association with Homeland Security Agent Matt Katsky, Homeland Security Agent Mary Ann Wade, put people under criminals, not people, not criminals, under serious pressure to tell lies. If someone came forward and told the truth, we'd hold our hands up and say that had to be done. That's fine. These people are liars. There is no doubt about that. We've shown that conclusively on numerous occasions. And if anyone wants to contradict it, and remember, Aaron Brady is 40 years for this crime here. And the bottom line is, he physically can't have done it. More to come on that. So thank you for watching. As I say, we have been quiet for a few weeks. Vast amounts of information to be dealt with in relation sort of to both cases, really. Not so much the intimidation nonsense, but we've had to go through some of the paperwork in respect of the appeal. And there's vast swathes of information we haven't put out previously as we waited the appeal result, or this appeal decision. So that has to be sifted through, arranged, correlated, and brought to you, the public, in a proper and correct manner. So that'll all be happening very shortly in the coming weeks and days. Thank you very much for watching. Please, I'm begging people, like, comment and share. You're not making any decision on innocence or guilt, but we have been very heavily censored. Thank you to all the groups and different groups and people who are following, who forward on our videos. Please continue to do so. And we will be asking for your help to share Aaron's story even more widely in the coming weeks. Thank you all, and we'll see you very shortly in the next video. Thank you.